Hello everyone and welcome back again to this new episode from our series Emigrate to USA. As we used in every week, I make a small introduction. My name is Wasim and I make videos about immigration, study abroad, scholarships, job opportunities abroad. I'm concentrating on Canada. Especially right now we are speaking about USA, but I speak about Canada, Australia and New Zealand and Europe also. If you are looking for the best way to migrate, so this is your right place. If you didn't watch the 3 ways that we described in the previous episode, you can see them now on screen on my YouTube channel. You can check them and watch them. Now let's move to the third way to immigrate to USA, which is marriage from US citizen. In this video I will speak about the procedure, and it has to be mentioned like I'm talking about legal marriage in the legal way. So marriage should be completely legal and you have to present all evidence. It hasn't to be for only to get the papers for many reasons, because this is fraudulent, and this fraudulent expose you to legal liability. Moreover, if you trick a woman or a man to marry you, this is ethically unacceptable and the results will be bad. Breaking people's hearts for selfish goal is not nice, and sooner or later will pay high price for that. And if you get caught from the government, maybe they will ban you from entering USA and they will refuse any visa you apply for after that. After this warning, I will start speaking about if you dating someone, if you find the right person, either online using online dating apps, which is very common these days. For example, I searched for a study from Chicago University. This study showed that people who meet online and get married, their marriage lasts more than people who meet offline. Another study on Tinder application illustrated that more than 7.6 million people in USA use Tinder in 2019. Some people use exchange languages apps. Some people like to date in real, so they can find it on parties, whatever. So let's assume that you have your partner right now and you decide to get married. What should you do, and what should your partner do, because he or she will be responsible on the whole procedure till the interview. And the procedure is not easy, but you can do it with the help of your partner, and it's much more better to do it with him. Now let's assume like you found the right person for you, man or a woman, and you want to marry him or her. What's the procedure? Because most of us doesn't know. They know like if you marry a US citizen you can get the paper, which is right, but how and what should I do, and what's actually it's long time process. It can take more than a year from doing papers to make that comes true. So you have to be aware, and you have to know which type of person this can work with and which type not. So I found it useful to speak about how, if you find your love and decided to marriage, how you can make this application. So basically you need to apply for a green card for marriage purpose, marriage based green card. How can you apply for it? It's 3 important steps. Don't worry, I will explain it as much as I can. First step is to establish the marriage relationship form I-130. This form should be filled by your partner in USA, and he has to pay $500, $535, and to prove that the sponsor is sponsoring Suppose, which is your partner in USA, it's a US citizen. He can prove that by his passport, his copy of his green card, or permanent residence card, anything. Plus that this partner, he has to prove that a legally valid marriage exists. He has to show a contract, a marriage certificate showing the names of both the spouses. You and him, everything should be illustrated in this certificate, and also has to, or she has to prove that the marriage is not fraudulent. She can prove, or he can prove that by a joint lease, joint bank account statement, pictures from the wedding, videos from the wedding. Once the I-130 filing package is complete, it must be mailed to the appropriate USCIS address. USCIS will then send the sponsoring spouse an official acknowledgement or receipt notice. Within 2 weeks, if USCIS needs more information or documents to process the filing package, send the sponsoring spouse a request for evidence, it's called RFE, within 2 to 3 months. Once USCIS has everything they need, they will typically make a decision on the I-130 application within 7 to 15 months, depending on the couple's situation. After receiving notice that the I-130 form has been approved, the next step will be to determine whether the spouse seeking a green card is eligible for one. And in this stage, they will ask you about all your documents. This step, called establishing the spouse's eligibility for a green card. It sounds like complex process, but it's not, and I want to draw your attention that if you follow these steps as I am telling you, you won't need a lawyer to do that. And you know, if you don't need a lawyer, you will save a lot amount of money and time on you. But you have to listen carefully and to concentrate on each step, and if you didn't follow, you can return back to the process from the beginning. You watch the video again and you will understand it. Step: establishing the spouse's eligibility for a green card. The US government follow different process to determine the spouse's eligibility for a marriage-based green card. The right process depends on where that spouse currently lives. I will speak about spouses who live outside USA because it's the general cases, but I will speak also about the people who live inside USA also. So you have to pay a filing fee of $445, and you have to fill a form DS-260 green card application. It's filled online. Besides that, you have to prove the sponsoring spouse's ability to financially support you as a spouse seeking a green card. You have also to obtain a document your spouse in USA, including Form I-864, which is called Affidavit of Support, and evidence such as tax return and pay stubs. Copy of a policy clearance certificate for the spouse seeking a green card. So they have to make sure that you didn't commit any crime. Now, if your application get approved, you will move to the last step, which is the embassy interview. There is 2 different procedure for making the interview, depends on where you live and where you're supposed live. So they will notify you and your spouse by email about the interview, and your location precisely will identify where the interview will be. In case you are inside USA, both you and your partner has to attend the interview in the USCIS office. In case you are outside USA, you will do the interview in the embassy, and your wife doesn't have to, or spouse doesn't have to attend the interview. Now, let's move to the practical part. In the travel.state.gov, I will explain how to do that by an example, how you can find this information, how you can search for visa. I am inside visa wizard in the state.gov travel.state.gov. I put the country and immigrate by spouse, and now he will show me the visa options. As you can see, that I can apply for IV immigration visa by relative, family-based immigration, immediate relative, which is the spouse. I am begin the process, and he will show me the steps, step by step. First of all, I have to submit a petition, as we mentioned, the form I-130, or they called it Align Relative. After this, we will move to the next step, which is paying for the people who outside USA to make the application on NVC in case the I-130 approved through the state site. So after they accept your petition, they will ask you you will go to the National Visa Center to apply for this application. You will, as I mentioned, you will fill 2 forms in this step. Of course, you have to pay the fees in order to lodge or submit your application. Here, an example about the fee for the next step, or the second step that we explained. This fee is about $445, and they give you the details about it. The Affidavit of Support Fee, or the form I-864, as we mentioned before. So here, I don't know if you can see the picture. I'm trying to open it. Okay, so you can see the fee for the Affidavit of Support is $120. Another IV application, international immigration visa application, is $325. So the sum is $445. This $445 is for both forms that you will apply, or apply it on the official site. So the next form, after you fill the form, DS 260 and you process your payment, you will go to the next form, which is the form I-864. So first the form 260, then the form 864, and you have to understand that after your spouse fill this form for you, so he is legally responsible on supporting you financially, and this affidavit support, it's two-step. You have to fill the form, and after they accept the form, they will ask you for evidence about that. So you have to gather all documents that they needed for proving that you are able to support, or your spouse able to support you when you travel to USA. They use poverty guideline, so you have which means you have to your spouse have to have amount of money. For each state they have a number. Your spouse should be able to declare it in order to get acceptance for this application. I will show you I'm downloading this, and I will show you how much money your spouse has to declare, or both of you, because you will help you to make that, because in case he or she couldn't do that, has to declare it by assets. So in this site you can see I return to the USCIS site because it shows the number in a better way. So here for the most of the states except Alaska and Hawaii, if you are two-person, your spouse has to prove, and you and your spouse has to prove that you have at least $550. The number on the left is for people who has someone in the military, and it's a special cases. You can read it on the site, but in general this is for Alaska, to $24,700. Here on the USCIS site you can see also tips how to fill the form I-864. It's I advise you to go to the site and read all the instructions, because if you failed or your spouse failed to fill this application, or you miss any important info in it, so everything will you will return the process from the beginning and you will get rejected. So you are exposed to lose the case 3 times for the filling the form I-130 and for the DS 260 and the form I-864. So you read all information
about how to fill the form 864, what they need from you, what they need from your spouse, and after that you fill it line by line without missing any info. It's about 12 pages. Now you can understand which type of proof your spouse has to prove. You can go to I will go to that in the next step by asking for financial documents, because we don't know which type of document they want, so you can make assessment online to understand what your spouse has to prove. On this assessment they will ask you about which form you will fill, and if your spouse paying, if his taxes, and if he will make the application for you, and if the address is in USA, his address in USA or not. So in this case they will ask you about tax return form, and they will ask you if you meet the or suppose meet the minimum return income. So as I said, they will ask you about IRS tax transcript. In this transcript they can see the annual income and tax for your spouse. Alternatively, you can submit a complete copy of a file about tax return for your spouse. So let's move to the next step, which is the online before that, here a description about the tax transcript, and a very important info that if you failed or your spouse failed to prove that he is able to receive you, you can make evidence of income he or she by paper from the company, and for each cases there is an instruction. For example, for an employed by individual or companies, they have to submit a photocopy of employment letter, pay stub or pay advance, direct deposit receipt, meet the criteria below, includes your name. So there is steps you have to follow. Your manager has to sign on the paper, and also you can buy business license signed letter on business letterhead that was written within in the last 3 months, a contract between you as an independent contractor and a company for retired person, retirement benefit, other household members' income or other significant assets, car, house, anything. So if you are currently self-employed, if in any of the following ways you don't need to submit evidence of income. This is special cases if you are babysitter or elderly, caretaker, construction worker, on handy person or housekeeper, landlord, musician, nanny, mistress, tailor, artist or writer. You don't have to approve your asset for the authority to fill the application. So in case you submit the form and you need to prove your assets, there is also a procedure you have to to do it, which is to list your name as the owner to the asset, include the value of the asset expressed in the currency. So you have a car or you have a house, you have to put it the name and the place, your name, the value of this house or of this car in the currency in dollar. Next step, which is the online application. In the online application, after they get make sure that you fill the I-864 completely, they will make you return to DS-260 application and complete it. So you cannot complete DS-260 till they make sure that the I-864 application is approved and it's full. Here I will show you an example about DS-260. This is the DS-260 immigration visa application. You go to US Department of State. On this site you sign it. All the paper that you will do it here. You select the case, the application, and here an information about the procedure. This chart illustrates like the DS-260 and the affidavit of support, how this procedure, these two forms related to each other. So you submit the IV application and you submit the support of affidavit application. If you get approved, you will move the next step. Here you accept, you checked here and you write your name, and this is the whole information that you will fill it in the application. I just show it to you just to look at it. I will not do anything. This example is made on the side, you can check it. It's 12-page personal information or photo and scans stuff, so you can check it and to know what you are really need from to fill this application. So we here see address, city, normal information, and you can fill it easily. Next step, it's the civil document, which is your document, the document for people who outside the US, and so your spouse want this document from you to fill it to complete the application. Birth certificate, court and prison records in case you commit any crime, and marriage certificate in case you are or your spouse are divorced, you have to prove that, and photocopy of valid passport, biographic data page, so the first page from your passport, and the petitioner documents, so your spouse document also. So both of you have to fill this application. Also the police certificate, in case you made anything you have to prove it. So you have to make clear of record, otherwise you have to make this a police certificate. Here instruction about how to write the name and the place in case you get arrested, and in which place, and to be mentioned that they will ask about that for each country you have been there. This is how to scan the document that you will need it and your spouse will need it. It should be in color. This is instructions, basics instruction about how to scan document. It should be on color. The official papers should be on two sides, not on one page. Sorry, on the one page, not on one page and on the back. So on the same page, the two sides, and it has to be clear, so it should be readable also, and organized in the way that they can check it clearly. All these things you can do it using your smartphone. You didn't have to scan it in a place. There is an application to scan the document. I used Cam Scanner, which is a very good application to scan document. So after we scan them, and we have now to upload them to the State of Department site. So lodge the document after paying the fee. All of this they will ask for it mentioned. You have to name them on their at the same name. So passport, you have to name the file as passport. All of you know this information, but just in case, just to remind you. And you can also put them in a compressed file to minimize the size of the file. So after you submit this application, you, in case they accept this application, they will send you an email about the interview. So last step, it's the interview. In the interview, your spouse and any qualified and married children. This is for people also who because this form not only for married people, it's also for relative. So you have to bring your appointment letter to the interview, your passport, your photographs, 2 identical color photographs for each applicant, for you and your spouse, and DS 260 confirmation page in case they accept the form from you. Here the requirement for the 2 or the 4 colors for you and for your spouse should be in color. There is also condition for the size of the picture. You can check all this info from this site. You have to check this site many times, and to after this video also, because you ought to understand the procedure very well, because I don't want anyone of you to return the procedure and pay money again, because it costs a lot, and you have to do it from the first time in the perfect way. So now we go to return back, because I try to see this tool for checking the picture, but it's not available on the site right now. Anyway, you can read the instruction and understand these requirements. So in case your interview, or after the interview, in case your visa is approved, congratulations, of course. Your immigrant visa will be placed on a page in your passport, and you must pay the USCIS immigration fee to US Citizenship and Immigration Service after you receive your immigrant visa and before you travel to the United States. Please note that USCIS will not issue a permanent residence card or green card until you have paid the fee. They are insisting on the fee. Okay, so when traveling to the United States, the primary or principal applicant must enter before or at the same time as a derivative family members with visa. A visa doesn't guarantee entry into the United States. The Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection officials have authority to grant or deny admission. So what they want to say to you, even if you got this visa, there is Customer Border Protection, CBP. They have the right to deny your even after you get this visa. They can tell you, we are sorry, we refuse that, we will not allow you to enter the USA. But in general cases, they don't do that, only in emergency situation, if they have doubt about you, that you have commit crimes or something related to terrorism or any other stuff. Here the information in case your visa has been rejected. There is a lot of cases. I don't want to go on to negative stuff, but you can read the information about reason of rejection. But if you feel it in that way that I am telling you about it, and you don't have any medical issue or you didn't make any crime, then your application will be accepted. So my friend, after this long video, and necessary one for how to apply for an immigration visa as supposed to American citizen, I hope that you find all the information that you need. But in case you miss anything, or you are not able to absorb all this information, you need support, you can contact me and I will answer all your questions. And in case you want help in your immigration file, you can check my site newimmigrants.online and ask for help, and I will be happy to help you. Goodbye everyone, and good luck.